Host Natalie Rydstrom with this week's SBR Industry News Update, reporting for SportsbookReview.com. We start this week with some good news. Popular betting exchange Matchbook was upgraded to the rating of B+. Matchbook rolled out a mobile betting platform last week and offered SBR Forum users who provided the best feedback $50 worth of free bets. Matchbook management tells SBR that mobile is one of the many new features recently installed. Players can now set their account currency to euros, pounds sterling, Canadian, Hong Kong and US dollars. Matchbook players with feedback are asked to write to SBR. Fresh off the press now, a Sportingbet player submitting a betting dispute earlier today. On March the 11th, the player wagered on a Bulgarian league football match between Sofia and Minyor Pernik. The player tells SBR that Sportingbet has not settled the market, claiming an investigation into the match was underway. Sportingbet has given the player no new information. Last month, SBR reported a Sportingbet bonus dispute where a player was denied an earned free bet. The player was in full compliance with house terms, but the book decided to cite a rule basically saying it can do whatever it wants. SBR launched a complaint with the AGCC, who rubber-stamped Sportingbet's decision. SBR will attempt to follow up on an ungraded football market. In other news now, Betway's 30% rule strikes again. As SBR has uncovered in the past, the unsavory bookmaker is seizing winnings from players whose wagering exceeds 30% of their starting bonus. A player wrote to SBR this weekend stating that £730 were voided from his account. To date, the Sportsbook has confiscated well over £7,000 in player winnings. Betway is licensed by the Malta LGA, and they also agreed to dispute resolution via eCOGRA. To discuss the use of regulators within the gambling industry, we welcome SBR's lead dispute analyst, Justin Seven, to the program. Justin, have you had any experience dealing with either eCOGRA or the Malta LGA?
Yes, I have. I followed a few player submissions when they were treated unfairly by sportsbooks. With eCOGRA, they handled a Betway complaint, and basically they rubber-stamped the Betway decision, saying as long as Betway followed its own rules, no matter how unreasonable the rules are, that it's okay to confiscate player funds. With the Malta LGA, a problem you'll often have is they just don't respond to you. I have many cases where players submit complaints and there's no response for months. But the only time I've really seen Malta LGA act decisively is if somebody falsely advertises that they are licensed in Malta.
Okay. And have you had any dealings with any other gaming regulators?
Yes, we've had several. We had one dispute we submitted before the Curacao Gaming Board, and we got an acknowledgement, but they never responded after that. We've also had several with the Alderney Gaming Commission, and again, similar to eCOGRA, they just rubber-stamped the Sportsbook's decision. So it's futile, really, to file it with any of these commissions.
Mm-hmm. Which jurisdictions are generally the safest, or at least offer the player a fair amount of recourse should a sportsbook dispute arise, which SBR itself cannot mediate?
Your best bet is probably in England with the IBAS, but even that is a long shot. They tend to respond to players more than the other commissions do, but we still see many cases where they don't respond to a player or where their decisions do not follow any kind of law or rationale, just, again, rubber stamping the books. But they do occasionally rule for the player.
Would you allow any regulator to protect your balance at any sportsbook?
No, I wouldn't trust any of them, really. I think the only way you can really make sure your money is safe is to be aware of a sportsbook's reputation. You know, be aware of what their SBR rating is, and also look at the forums to see what kind of experiences other people have with that. Because once you're at the point where you're asking a regulator to help you, your money's probably been seized already, and the situation could be hopeless. It's better to avoid that situation than to try to find a remedy once it's happened to you.
Okay, thanks for that, Justin. See you next week.
Thank you.
And thank you to you for tuning in. I've been your host, Natalie Rydstrom, reporting for SportsbookReview.com.